Fame and fortune have always come with a steep price, but never in our wildest imaginations could we picture one as dark as a demonic spirit. Let's talk about Smile 2. Hey guys, it's Kwana back again with another Her review. Hope you all are doing awesome. All right, so we're going to be talking about Smile 2, so make sure you grab your bottle of Voss so you can stay thoroughly hydrated as we talk about the sequel to the very popular Smile 1, which was directed by Parker Finn, and this sequel also directed by Parker Finn. So anticipated was I for this sequel that I eventually finally got myself together and watched Smile 1. I did enjoy it, didn't finish my review of it, and I could not wait to talk to you about Smile 2 because this movie was so very entertaining to me. It stars Naomi Scott as a pop singer who has her own challenges to face, her own demons, if you will. But unfortunately, she encounters the demon entity from Smile, and so she's perhaps dealing with more than even she can handle. This movie also stars Rosemarie Dewitt, who plays her mother in it. It stars Ray Nicholson, the son of Jack Nicholson, who plays her boyfriend. It also sees a few of the actors in Smile returning to reprise their role. And of course, this all started with a little short film called Laura Hasn't Slept. Parker Finn is doing something so good and so original with this concept that even though it's borrowing from several different sources, I think this is such a refreshing series because you have the on the surface level of just this demonic entity that is forcing people to see things that aren't there, to deal with their trauma, to see things that have caused them trauma in their past, that haunts them from within, that they're being haunted by the spirit, but also haunted by their past. And you have the initial layer of that, but there is so much more within this series. But let's first just talk about Smile 2. So Smile 2 follows pop singer Skye Riley, played by Naomi Scott, in a transformational film on a lot of levels. But first and foremost, the fact that I did not recognize Princess Jasmine whatsoever. I was like, who is this girl? She looks oddly familiar, but I can't remember where I placed her. And then I looked and I was like, Naomi Scott, I know that name. I've seen several things that she's been in. Why do I know that? And then I looked, and this is Princess Jasmine. And I was like, whoa, talk about transformational. Not only is this a new look for her, but the lengths and the depths by which she goes in this role are very impressive. There's buzz now for her getting an Oscar nomination. I don't know if the Academy is going to go so far as to do that, but if they did, it would be a nice surprise to see them taking performances in the horror genre just as seriously as they take performances in the dramatic genres as well. You have so many levels of meaning that you can extract from putting this protagonist and making them a pop idol. She's drawn from tons of inspiration. Her singing is great. We know she can sing because she was in Aladdin as Princess Jasmine. But that aside, you have all of the same levels that the Smile franchise introduced in the first one, which is how trauma can pass from one person to the next, how the abused sometimes abuse others, how trauma has this way of building up and pulling on your past as you're dealing with new and fresh traumas, the PTSD of it all, and then having these characters be women and the deeper meaning of the way in which women carry weight and are made to feel as though they have to put on these false facades again and again and again. They have to wear these masks. They have to smile in the presence of their pain, to the point that women are often told by perfect strangers as they are going upon their day to smile. Smile, baby girl, what's wrong? That they aren't allowed to really show or display their trauma is so good, and I've not seen a lot of people talk about it. And then with all of the talk this year of parasocial dynamics and parasocial relationships and the pressures that are put on these famous people, these pop idols, to be a business in their own skills and in their own talents. Their talent and skill creates businesses and wealth and careers for all of these people that they are now responsible for, and the immense pressure of that, not to mention the pressure of pleasing their fans, not being able to tap into their mental health, not being able to care about where they are in their positioning of the world, and to be made to have to speak to all of these different things that they may not feel like they have a voice on. It is an incredible weight, in a way that probably was not always a weight. You could just be a singer, you could just be an actor, and you did not feel the weight of the world, and that certainly has changed. And you feel that so much in this movie that I feel as though some of the themes that maybe were easily glossed over in the first one, people weren't talking about, and it really felt as though Parker Finn said, when we're writing the next one, we're going to put it so much in their faces that they cannot deny some of these messages and some of what we are saying. But listen, you are here for the horror. The horror is still there. The jump scares are still there. There's very rarely a moment in this film that you are not feeling the weight and intensity of the suspense, that you're not waiting for the next thing to happen. Because this movie moves so fast in introducing Skye to the entity, at that point you are constantly waiting for the barrage of images that is going to encapsulate her mind to attack her, and it is coming from all sides. You have a great cold open with how it is eventually spread to her encountering it, to then the rest of the movie just waiting for that decline and waiting to see what will happen. Now, that said, I definitely think Naomi Scott did a phenomenal job. Rosemarie Dewitt was wonderful. Really, everyone felt as though they brought their A game. There wasn't a single character, a single actor that felt as though they weren't actually in this situation and dealing with this in real time. It felt very authentic, which I felt really was refreshing. There is one sequence that a lot of people have loved. I thought was well choreographed. I thought that was well directed, and it made sense for the movie as a whole, but it didn't, for me, it read a little hokey in a film that was so serious throughout most of it. And the runtime is a little bit longer. It is a little over 2 hours, and I definitely think, for me, horror works best when it is just a clean 90 minutes, because you're getting so much emotion, and that battle of emotions that you're faced with in the theater, you need a break from that. And so if you can get a movie that is just 90 minutes of doing that, it's you feel the relief of it. You feel the relief of it at the end. If you see the trailer, I feel as though while the plot is really well done and the direction is really well done, it felt like Parker Finn really took what worked in the first movie and upped the ante with the bigger budget. That said, the ending was very predictable. I definitely felt like I knew exactly. It could have really just gone one of two ways. And you're sitting down to watch it. Once you're in it, like a good 15-20 minutes, you know that it's going to end up one way or the other. And you're kind of just waiting for that moment to happen. And so there's a suspensefulness in that I think works well. There were a couple of things that I was surprised by, though, and I think that's refreshing as well, when a director in the genre, when in a sequel, can be better than the original, and when it can do something new. I think that that's a great mark of a good filmmaker and a good film. I can't think of too many films in any genre where the sequel, unless you're talking about several superhero, there are several superhero movies that the sequels work better than the first one, probably and mainly due to budgeting issues. But I do think that sometimes when you get to know your craft and you take the bigger budgets and you work within those confines, and you don't just give a complete rinse and repeat of what was already given so that it doesn't feel stale, but then you find a way to bring something new to it, I think that's when you really knocked it out of the park. The budget for Smile 2 was only $28 million, which is not a small budget, but it's not a lot in today's standards. And considering some of the set designs and the pieces for this, I definitely think you see that additional budget, and it is used very well. The elephant in the room is that it is very highly an advertising tool for Voss water, and I'm so sorry for spoiling it to you, because that is the one thing that does feel very in your face and very commercialized. It works because of the type of film it is, but it does at moments take you out, and I had to laugh at several moments in the movie as she's chugging these bottles of Voss water in the midst of these crises. I've heard the methodology that they mentioned in the film before, so it's not a first, but it just was very overt and in your face. But I had an absolutely great time. The soundtrack for this movie is really well done. The original music that she recorded for it, really well done. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe there was a nomination that came out of even that, but this is definitely, I don't know if it is just Naomi Scott getting better, if it's Parker Finn getting better, or if it's a combination of the two, but I definitely think that this was a highlight for her, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she brings, and I'm looking forward to see what Parker brings. I want to see him do something outside of this plot. I wouldn't be against seeing a Smile 3 because I enjoyed Smile 2 so much. But let me know in the comments if you had an opportunity to see Smile 2 already. If you've seen Smile 1, what did you think about it? No spoilers. I'm going to be dropping the reviews soon, I promise. And let me know if you haven't seen Smile 2, do you plan to go see it in the theater? I highly recommend, catch it on a matinee if you want to save some dollars. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video. Toodles.